If you are interested in starting your own podcast, we use Buzzsprout because it is simple and easy to use. Buzzsprout can get your show listed on every major platform while giving you the resources for a great podcast website, audio players that can drop into other websites, detailed analytics to see how people are listening to your podcast, and tools to promote your episodes. Podcasting isn't hard when you have the right partners, and that is why over 100,000 podcasters are already subscribed to Buzzsprout to get their message out to the world. Following the link in our episode descriptions lets Buzzsprout know that we sent you. So in return, you will receive a $20 Amazon gift card from Buzzsprout while signing up for a paid plan. Most importantly, every subscription through our link is always appreciated and helps support our show so we can continue delivering the quality content that you guys listen to. That being said, back to the show.
Hello and welcome to Comic Book Junkies. I'm Andrew.
This is Joe.
And we're back at you with a classic story review. This time it's kind of like a second or third in a series now, kind of. We did Galactus Trilogy before, which is like the first appearance of Silver Surfer and Galactus. We recently did first appearance of Wolverine and Hulk 180 through 182. And now we're coming back with the first appearance of Venom Trilogy, more or less, because they're kind of cameos, but whatever. You know what I'm saying. Amazing Spider-Man 298 through 300, the anniversary issue, the creative team of David Michelinie and Todd McFarlane. You know, it's classic. You've seen the cover. If you haven't, you're probably new to comics, but classic story that sets up a lot of, early McFarlane on Spidey and, a lot of early Venom, since there were enough cameos and lead-ins and stuff like that for the character. But yeah, we're going to be reviewing issues 298 through 300. Before we get in, how you doing, Joe?
Pretty good. Have either of us bought any comic books since the last pod?
I want to say duh, but I don't know, because it's just one never-ending cycle for me at this point. So I don't think I mentioned it last time. I just got a new Batgirl.
It's a pretty big deal.
Yeah. So I don't think between our last recording and now, did we mention how I got the Werewolf by Night 33 and you got the one? Well, if not, let them know.
Well, Berger and I are shopping together. Work gets stressful. Sometimes you got to take it out at a comic book store. And I'm already cashed out. Berger's about to cash out with the book he found. But he's doing a little snooping behind the counter. And
yeah,
it's like, can you guys show me that short box behind the counter? And they're like, oh, well, it's not priced. But then we both kind of paused and they're like, but did you want to look at it anyway? Duh. Yeah, for sure. And so I'm not even looking at it. Berger's looking at it. And he's pulling out all these sweet key issues. I think what caught your attention was the first appearance of Hercules.
Yeah, that Journey into Mystery annual.
Yeah, way more beat up than we thought. But it was like the very last book of the short box. And he has a Werewolf by Night issue 1. And I've always wanted one. It hasn't been like a priority for me, but an opportunity to get one, considering it's not priced yet. So I asked if he would give me a price on the spot, and it was good enough to where I still went home with it after spending my budget. So pretty cool sesh.
Yeah, well worth it. Yeah, I got us into a little bit of trouble there, because while he got the Werewolf by Night 1, I ended up getting the issue 33, so I have the second appearance of Moon Knight, also a great deal. I didn't really have so much already on hand, so I was just like, well, perfect. And that was because I had just ordered the Batgirl too, so I wasn't really supposed to go crazy. But that fit in quite nicely. And then also, I went to a new shop. I don't think I mentioned this either, but I got like three $3 books first time going there. First appearance of Kane and Web of Spider-Man 119. Not a huge deal, but for $3, sure. I mean, I'm seeing it go for 20, 30 at other stores. New Titans issue 99, the first time Speedy becomes Arsenal. Got that for $3. I've seen that for 10 to 15 at other stores. And then the cherry on top, Teen Titans Go, what is that, 23? First appearance of Red X. Been looking for that for a long time. Found like a near mint copy in one of their bins for $3. So I quickly checked out and was like, this was very cool. So, I hit up that store again, actually, after they got restocked. The books are looking good. Prices need to be more negotiable, but I'm not sure that the shopkeep there really has the negotiating power that we were looking for. Maybe if we catch the owner one day, it'll work itself out, but not holding my breath. But definitely more spots popping up to check out around here, which is kind of nice. But yeah, I mean, enough about our comic pickups.
I will say
How
I'm
about
I'm excited that I got that Deathlock though. Deathlock
yeah,
gang.
gang?
A few other small things, but yeah, let's get into it so we don't waste too much time because there's a lot to dig into. I
Yeah,
guess starting with issue 298, first McFarlane on title, also the first cameo of Venom. So it starts off with a guy named Chance. That's his villain name anyway.
the rapper.
he's a he's a villain too. But he attacks a guy over like 10K because the guy is supposed to testify against another guy, and Chance happens to be the guy in the green and yellow costume for those that have seen the cover of issue 298, just to kind of paint the picture for you guys. But shortly afterwards we see Mary Jane wrapping up at a studio shoot and calling Peter Parker to let him know that they got a shot at getting a condo at the Bedford Towers. And they're a married couple at this time in the comics for some context. But back to the story, the call ended up just going to voicemail because she's trying to get a hold of Peter, but relays that she's going to check it out on the way home from the shoot.
She tries to get a hold of Peter a lot during this 3 issue arc. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I was going to bring it up at the end, but it's very sexually tense.
Yeah, I mean, well, she's always trying to call him, and it is sexually tense. She's always trying to get a hold of Peter, one way or another. You know what I'm saying?
Holding Peter, hold of Peter. Good one, Burger.
Yeah. But yeah, I was kind of surprised, especially like later on. There's much more that gets like more direct, which is fun. I do like the juxtaposition because at this point in time, they're married. So they're kind of shacking up at Peter's like dingy crap apartment. Probably smells like cooked beef.
I bet it does.
And he loves it there. He's a broke ass though. And he's got man pride. So he's just like he has a sugar mom, so like things are looking up for him, but he's like, no, I need to be the breadwinner, which valid. But she's like, I'm not in it for that, just I'm in it
The
for
sex.
you, Peter.
Yeah.
She's in it for the Peter.
It's just as sexually tense as it is like poverty frustrations on Peter's side. Like
Yeah.
there's like an equal like amount of like her being horny versus him being like down about being poor.
Yeah,
This is
it's
weird. Yeah.
yin and yang. That's how you solve his issue. He's like, I don't got no bread, but he's getting the head. So he
Good
wishes he
one.
could double the bread, double the head, but he ain't doing that. But he's not loving being out earned by MJ. But what's cool is that he's going out for photography hunches, which actually he isn't that cool because he's not doing so well because there's not like a ton of freelance photography work apparently at the moment. Like there's no like hunches or anything going on so he's just kind of milling about and he gets a hunch. He's going to go get ready to take some pictures. He's swinging around in his black suit and all that, which is cool because for those like unfamiliar, he got that suit in issue 252, which was like a good 40 issues prior to this. He's still swinging around in it, which that's a whole thing too. There's like 4 issues of that are the first black suit for those who are unfamiliar. But, he's still wearing that suit, which is iconic, especially for the time, which we just see him kind of swinging around in that. But he's coming back home. MJ's like moving in and everything. Peter's trying not to be selfish. He's making dinner, like chicken nuggets in his undies and a bow tie. So, I mean, this is what we're talking about. Like, this is off rip. Like, dude's already in his underwear making chicken nuggets, acting French for. Very cool move, though. Respect. Which does work. But, MJ's friend Sandy's there to meet him. So he gets a little embarrassed, but MJ
He
doesn't
can get
care.
chicken nuggets too.
Yeah, chicken nuggets and Peter for everyone. But but from there we kind of see Nicholas Powell, who is apparently Chance's real name. Like we really need to know. Who's just a rich dude who loves gambling and banging other dudes' wives. And he gets a phone call from Carlton Drake and the Life Foundation once he gets back to his crib, which turns out to be like a whole other problem. But it's kind of setting up the stakes for the 3-issue arc and, how they're going to handle it. It's really mostly like a 2-issue. No, it's like a full 3 issues of, dealing with Chance and the Life Foundation. But yeah, he gambles on like everything. Like even his he put it in such a dumb way. He's basically a paid mercenary, but he says that he like bets against it or something. So that way he like earns it.
The greater the risk, the greater the worth, and wagers his services as opposed to charge for them.
High risk, no reward.
Facts.
We all know some folks who like to live like that, but when you got ankle gauntlets and wrist blasters, you don't really do that. I think you just take the money and stop playing games, right? Especially when you get maimed or killed or go to jail when are like all downsides and you
Or
get beat.
punch somebody in the face.
Yeah.
Yeah, but moving forward, guy named Carlton Drake, head of the Life Foundation, you know,
666.
it
Six God
reaches
Carlton
out
Drake
to
from Toronto. More Life
Chance
Foundation.
and is interested in a 20K wager in order for Chance's services. So the mission is that he goes to Pier 17 because there's a
17,
secret shipment of European arms that's anticipated to arrive. So Mr. Drake from the Life Foundation wants Chance to steal it for them.
Yeah, and like Peter's totally ready. Like apparently his hunch is like tied to this, so he's ready to go take pics anyways in his black suit. But then he finds out that Chance is there and he's like, "Whoa." And he's like, "Well, now I got to go fight Chance." So he like tries to like do the best of both worlds where he could beat up the bad guy but also like web his camera to take pictures of him beating up the bad guy, which he gets down about after because Peter's trying to get two stories out of one, but then Chance just
Scarcity
shoots a guy.
mindset. Poor people
Yeah,
move.
he's straight up trying to double the bread and double the head. Like I respect it, but he's trying to get two stories out of one.
Never
Chance
works
shoots a
out.
guy. It doesn't. Dudes get shot, and then Peter's like, "Oh, now I gotta fight." The guy ends up surviving, thankfully, but Peter's still guilty because he's like, "That wouldn't have happened if I had not been that way." But Chance just straight up dips because he like shoots a crane, and Peter has to like hold it up. Pretty cool though. But then we see Chance going back to see Drake, and he gets zapped unconscious because
Wait a minute. Wait, time out. Time out. He doesn't just go to Chance. He says, "You're mine." And Chance says, "Slavery, Spider-Man, in this day and age?"
oh, I know.
Do you
He was hitting
remember
him with
that?
the zingers. Yeah, he's hitting him with zingers. That was
What?
crazy. Yeah, I don't know, dude. I mean,
Time back in.
it,
That's all I had. I just
that's
it was a
I
weird
don't
like
know how to,
initial interaction.
yeah, Spider-Man, he keeps hitting nice and light, just like some quick jabs, and then this guy's bringing that. He's like, "Whoa, guy!" It's like it's not like that, and yeah, but ends up that Mr. Drake zaps Chance after he fulfills his part of the deal because you can't trust Mr. Drake. Turns out they want dudes technology and whatever. They're not trustworthy people. But Peter goes home. He's having troubles with his motions, but things are okay with him and MJ at least, which makes things cool. And then yeah, as we head into the very last panels of the issue, we start seeing hands turning into Venom at the end for a shadowy figure. So, I mean, some type of Venom cameo, but
Yeah,
to a degree.
yeah.
But
I'd consider it a cameo.
then what is
But just like we were
299?
saying, man, every time these villains team up, they don't trust each other, and it's just not good because like they never can truly team up. They always have to
Right.
like, yeah,
It's always just a being used thing.
yeah, 100%. But yeah, that's exactly how 298 wraps up. Going into 299, which most people consider the first full cameo of Venom.
I mean,
Uh,
yeah,
you could debate it's the first appearance, but we'll get there
it
at the
is.
end of this issue. So Chance can also be found on the cover of this issue as well. But the story starts off with Spidey trying to track down Chance. His tracker takes him to a truck, but before diving deeper and like seeing what's in this like semi truck, he's confronted by the police and abandons his lead. And then that being said, like Chance escapes again with the Life Foundation. But yeah, we also find out at this point that they never had any intention of paying Chance and just want to steal his technology, but more so want to further their profitability because the Life Foundation is working on this big project called the Sanctum Maximus. Pretty
Doctor
big deal.
Strange,
Pretty big deal.
Sanctum Sanctorum. Oh, this is totally random and you didn't make mention of it because it is unimportant. But MJ and Peter go out to a club because Peter's sad all damn time now. And he's like, "Oh, gee, I'll never fit into her world." But besides that, like it's just like a little club scene basically where he's like, "Oh, this blows."
That's your Peter impression?
Yeah, that's how he is. Um,
One more time.
Nope. Did you notice that the club they go to is called the Spawning Club?
No, but that makes total sense for this whole story arc.
Spawn. Todd McFarlane. Whoa. You know what? I'm dumb and like did not look into like which actually was coming first at that point. But depending on how that chronologically works, very interesting that they would put that in there as like the name, like he's just like teasing that he's gonna go indie. But for being a junkie, I'm pretty lazy and didn't look up at the timing of these issues. But whatever.
Yeah, Marvel
But
didn't even see it coming.
you put it right in front of him. But Peter's hell bent on finding Chance at this point. He's trying to investigate Drake as well to try and get some type of lead. He's doing a lot of Peter work this time. It's not just a lot of Spider-Man stuff, doing a lot of Peter work, which is kind of refreshing because he doesn't seem to do much as Peter, other than visit Aunt May and like whine about being broke. So it's cool to see him like get off his ass and earn a paycheck by investigating for once. I'm just kidding. But it's successful on his leads. He's all signs are pointing to New Jersey, northern New Jersey, I believe. And he's trying to see what Drake's up to there. As you mentioned, there's this, what the hell's it called again? I keep thinking of the Doctor Strange place.
Maximus.
Yeah, Sanctum Maximus.
Pretty much Mecca.
Yeah, it's like Mecca with armed guards, and it's like a hotel bunker survivalist thing selling condos to rich people. Which,
You're
for how
telling
high
me
stakes.
you want one? It was like complete with swimming pool, saunas, 5
That's what
million
I
a
mean.
pop. Worth it.
Like other than stealing the guns, I don't know what part of this is like illegal.
Yeah, it
Why
just
they
seems like
need
a good
Ponzi scheme,
business plan. Yeah.
It's like a timeshare. Like people buy timeshares in Aspen that they can't even go to when they want to. Why wouldn't you want a survival bunker in New Jersey? I don't get it. But Spider-Man doesn't like it. And so he he says, I can't afford a nice condo here. No one can. So
He's so mad about being poor. I would already passed this part, but like when he was upset that they were getting like a better apartment, I thought it was because like he would be more likely to get exposed, like his identity as Spider-Man, because maybe there's more security cameras in the area, maybe there's more people watching because he's in the middle of nowhere currently, but it's
yeah.
because he's poor.
Yeah, he just literally can't
Afford it.
like accept the fact that like MJ makes enough bread to cover him, and he's pissed. He's like, we can't afford this. And MJ's like hiring maids and has assistants. She's like, I can afford it. And it's like, you're married. It's like, she already told you she doesn't give a shit about your money. Just relax, bro. You're Spider-Man. It's not like you're not doing anything.
Dude, I would call Tony and be like, I need a raise.
I don't think they're boys like that. That's just the MCU where he's his fucking man boy.
Regardless.
Either way, besides,
I mean, they've always made him kind of like a poor character, like whether he's like a high school student or I don't know. I mean, like he doesn't come from money,
He's a newspaper photographer with no parents. I mean, he's not going to be loaded.
Yeah. It's just crazy though that they really focus on that in this.
Yeah, well, I mean, MJ is a supermodel now, so they have to juxtapose it somehow. I mean, it just helps tie into how emotional he was at the time. But moral of the story, getting back to the end of the issue here, Spidey finds Chance inside the bunker. They call a truce. They start beating the tar out of all these armed guards and then dip. And Chance says, nah, I'm going to just blow the whole joint up. And he does. And Peter's kind of like, what the hell? But doesn't really fight it. He's just like, okay, I guess. He didn't really need to do that.
People might have died. They might have not, but we're cool.
Yeah. And, before all this, they've made a whole point of them calling each other to let them know what they're up to. Peter didn't call because he thought it'd be a quick deal with Chance and, it wouldn't be a big deal. And Chance, he says after their truce, he says, don't know how it's going to work out, but he's like, least I could do is fly you back to your apartment or to the city at least. And he's like, I'll take you up on that. Rides on his back or something. It's all weird. Peter's like, the hell. But MJ's at the apartment. She's kind of mad at Peter because he didn't call. And she turns around. She's like, oh, Peter, and going to give him a little bit of rabble rousing. But then Venom appears from the shadows for the first time to MJ's dismay. And it's pretty damn cool. It's very much like the Hulk 180 deal. Full pan. Well, he doesn't say his name and
that's
all
the
that.
only difference is that he doesn't say I'm Venom.
But
at the
character panel,
bottom
very clearly
of the page is his next Venom. Or don't miss Venom.
So, I mean, for those of you who want to, for those who want to argue, it's for all intents and purposes the first time we see Venom in full, like not obscured by shadows and like is actually revealed. But since it's like a panel, it's a cameo, I guess. But that leads us to issue 300, the first full appearance of Venom, which has the iconic cover.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely the most expensive of the three if you're collecting. What's cool
Oh,
is Burger and I own all three of these. So
yeah.
small
And
flex.
for the third time.
By the
But
time Peter gets home, Venom's gone, but Mary's still in shock,
yeah,
scared
she's
because it looks just like Peter, but more buff.
yeah, weightlifter Spider-Man that grew a mouth out of his mask. She was horrified.
Yeah. I mean, I'd be scared too. But after
Yeah.
that, Peter reflects on everything he kind of learned about the alien, and he knows he's going to have to stop it. But while he's brainstorming, we learn a lot about the host, which we find to be Eddie Brock, and kind of his motives for finding or wanting to find Spider-Man.
I love that he has like the like worst, like even worse than Peter apartment, but like there's no like anything in it other than weightlifting equipment. Very cool.
He needs a
Um,
sugar mom's too.
no, he doesn't because women don't understand how little it takes for us to be happy.
He just has a TV in the corner and a bench press set.
A TV on the floor and like a full weight rack. It's all we need, bro.
And some whey protein
That's what he was
and
doing, dude. I
and
bet.
maybe some raw eggs.
Yeah, you know that place be stanking. But yeah, I mean, so he's going back and we just see him talking about how he wants to kill, basically. He's like, I gotta be ready to kill. It's like, okay, so you're a psychopath. And then Peter's all like trying to think about what could possibly look like my Spider-Man costume, but with a face. And then for those of you who don't know, Secret Wars issue 8 also like the origin of the black suit, but also tied for first black suit. Iconic Jazz Hands cover. It kind of starts retreading over that about how he got a suit in Secret Wars 8. It was a symbiotic suit that he had to get rid of. Mr. Fantastic had to shoot it with like a sonic blaster, but ultimately he still wore it around. He thought he killed it by going to like the church and getting up right on the church bell and having the vibrations mess the thing up. Turns out that didn't really do the trick. So, that kind of ties into more of it. You'll hear Eddie kind of monologue about that more after. But, they are up next for the new condo at this point. So MJ and Peter getting ready to move in. Peter's like, oh, I'm going to go grab some old stuff from my apartment. That sucks. And then really he's going to find Eddie. But, there's a little bit of that. He finds out too that Aunt May invited him over for dinner because he did actually stop at the old apartment. And this is the first time we hear of Aunt May. And then, they go out for dinner at Aunt May's. There's a bunch of geezers that are around the table with her. I don't know the whole circumstance with that. But Aunt May feels like she's overbearing on their relationship, even though she doesn't talk to him. And then everyone's reassuring Aunt May that, like, no, we love you. Peter would probably die without you. So, a nice little touching Aunt May moment. MJ tries to tell Peter to become a fashion photographer because he's still whining about being broke 3 issues later. And so she starts like taking her clothes off and trying to be sexy for him because everyone was horny writing this. So Peter tries it, but he feels too big silly. And then she takes her top off, and then Peter's spirits slowly rose, which I thought was hilarious because I'm sure it did. Like that they put it that way.
Something rose.
Yeah, his spirit slowly began to rise, as they put it. It's like, it's called blood, brother. But you know what? They get to have a little bit more fun time because apparently there's no lack of that. But here's where the fun stuff starts happening. We see more Eddie Brock going on a roid rage, basically kills an innocent cop in a church because he's always lurking at church praying that God kills Spider-Man, or Peter Parker rather, which is crazy. Like he's literally praying on his downfall, but and he thinks that God's going to listen to him too. But anyways, Peter sees Venom and follows him, but he gets ambushed because, as we all know, and they really hammer home, spider sense doesn't work on the symbiotes. So Venom, Carnage, all them, Peter has no idea if or when they're coming unless he sees or hears them. And then Eddie starts whining. He says he hates Peter because basically he stole his job and life and everything like that. Eddie was just writing articles about Sin Eater. And then this one guy who wasn't Sin Eater said he was Sin Eater. Peter comes out, unmasks the real Sin Eater. Then Eddie Brock's exposed as a sham. And he puts that all on Peter, even though he was lying or like unwillingly wrong or unknowingly wrong. Not good. They start fighting. Peter's getting his ass whooped. He's reaching for a sonic blaster for like 10 whole years. Doesn't really matter. He's still blasts him with it though. And you'd think that they would like separate, but that's when Peter finds out that those two are like actually straight up bonded already. So that's kind of crazy. But Venom gets the upper hand on him and like knocks him out because apparently he recovers really fast, knocks Peter's out. webs him like very thoroughly to the giant church bell for like a sense of irony, so that he basically just gets crushed by how huge the bell is apparently. And Spidey doesn't have a way to get out of this. He like messes up one of his arms or whatever, but like narrowly escapes. And he realizes that Venom uses organic webbing. And so he basically swings on top of the bell on like the church tower and realizes that if Venom uses that much webbing, he probably doesn't have much left, and outsmarts him because he can't beat him physically. And more or less, he subdues Venom, drops him off at the Fantastic Four, which the Thing is in charge. And why does he look like that? Man looked messed up. And
Hungover.
or worse. I don't know, dude. Like his head had like a weird tip on it.
Meth,
I don't know.
fentanyl,
Yeah, he was on some shit. But more or less,
whatever Eddie was taking.
or yeah, something. Eddie gets subdued. He's with the FF now, and they basically have a way to keep him in a tube. Obviously, not for too long, but he's all tubed up and under their watch. And then Peter, Mary Jane's like, yo, stop wearing that suit. You look like a homicidal maniac, more or less. And she gets him like a suit that was like a copy from like a different country and gives it to him because apparently there's just like a commercial copy of his suit, his original suit. So he's just wearing that. And we're back to good old red and blue Spidey.
Which is
and that's
really
basically
cool way to end the series. We go back to red and blue Spider-Man after all is said and done, and I can't blame Mary. The fight was weird though, because you're telling me that like he can break his hand free through all that webbing and then also stop that huge like pendulum from like destroying him.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was weird. And then also when Eddie Brock ran out of webbing and fell from like a skyscraper, you're telling me that just didn't straight up kill him. So there was weird fight stuff. But overall, I really liked it. Loved the art. Great time in Spider-Man history. Like even past this issue, there's a bunch of classic covers by McFarlane. The Thing was interesting looking, but I don't know what that was about. Mary looked a little different to me in this. I don't know if it was just because of how much they focused on their sexual life, but she was pretty mature looking. But lastly, very fun first app to read. Good story in general. I would recommend it. 8 out of 10.
Yeah, I'm right with you. About an 8 out of 10. Very good. Just a little 3-piece banger. Very quick to read through, especially the first two, because they're only like 24 pages or so. Obviously, the issue 300 is an anniversary issue, so it's probably like double that. Good reads, though. I agree. The art, impeccable for that time. Writing, solid. Very cool. A lot of funny quips and innuendos that were hidden throughout, which I appreciated clearly. But yeah, definitely recommend if you haven't read it already, or if you own the issues but are too scared to take them out of their bag and read them. Definitely, we read them on basically Comixology, digital readers. Pretty affordable to read those if you want to that way. I'd recommend it. But yeah, cosign 8 out of 10.
I think that wraps it up on our end. Hopefully you enjoyed the review. As far as what we got next, we have a great idea. We just need to execute on it. So you guys will find out next episode if that comes into fruition.
Damn right. And in the meantime, you could check us out at CBJ Pod on Instagram, CBJ Podcast on Facebook, Comic Book Junkies everywhere. If you've seen our logo once, surely you won't mistake it anywhere else. So look for that anywhere else you do look. 5-star reviews, we appreciate them. Reviews, all of that helps feed the algorithm, helps push us out to more junkies. And yeah, just spread the good word to anybody you know who might be interested. And with that, we'll see you next time, and peace.
Appreciate you listening.